It's your King Summer, dude. It's week 6 of the Best Ball Mania 4 Leaderboard show. Usually this show kicks off at 8 p.m. Eastern, but when Diva Davis demands that this show moves up for him, we bend the knee. Of course, we need Davis for the community. I'm Liam. Let's kick it off. All right, as I said, I am Liam Murphy. Today we have on the one, the only Davis Mattek, looking like a rugged mountain man. Davis, how you doing? How's the year been treating you, man?
I mean, the year's been all right. No binks yet in DFS. Had a lot
Copy
of
and repeat every week, for most people.
Right. Had a lot of Devin Achans. So for about 2.5 weeks, I was like, I am the smartest person alive. No one's better than me. We got 5-7 wide receivers going nuts everywhere. There was, I think after week 4, I think after the second Achan week, I had 10 teams in the top 10,000 on Underdog. Like when you search in their little sheet or whatever, I think I'm down to 3 now. So
I'm only at 1. So you're
things
better.
Things could be better. Things could be worse.
Yeah, I mean, Achan, I don't know if you did any of the Best Ball Resurrections, but he was a legit 2-3 turn pick, closing in on second round.
Yeah, I would have taken him every time at that price, I think.
Yeah, and I put out a poll of will he be a first round pick next year? And to me, the overwhelming answer is like, of course, yes. Like you simply are going to take the explosive guys who can break a slate often. So how much is a lot when we're talking? You had a lot of Achan. Did you have 20%? Anything crazy like that?
I think so. It's hard to tell exactly because of the way the Underdog. You know how it's so weird. Like
filter it for Best Ball Mania 4. Filter it to $25 entries.
All right, I'll be able to. I'm gonna guess I have him 18% in Best Ball Mania.
And guys, if you are not in my Discord, make sure you join the Discord. The link is in the YouTube description below. And in there, under the Best Ball resources, I posted a link that lets you basically look up people's exposures. So you could, we can fact check Davis if he's lying or not, basically.
Yeah, I've got 18. So just filtering by entry fees, I've got 18% Achan, $690 worth of Devin Achan, and whatever this little segment is.
And they've been proactive in stating that. Like they went out of their way to be like, oh, he's playing as soon as 4 weeks is up. So that's not one where for me, I have like 20% Anthony Richardson. And I was like feeling optimistic for a second.
Got a bunch of him too.
And he looks like he is just done.
I think one of these teams we're about to look at here, I can't remember, but I remember clicking on Sunday and seeing that one of my highest scoring teams was a Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson team, and just being like, well, sending that one to the glue factory. I mean, in terms of like highest drafted guys, I've got a bunch of guys who are out or who stink. Gainwell, Pollard, Charbonnet, these dudes
Pollard.
stink.
Let's talk about Pollard for a second, because I'm with you on the Pollard train, and I plugged my ears all summer. Like it very rarely was brought up, but the man did, I think, like break his leg last playoffs. Yeah. And I just ignored it.
He had the tightrope procedure.
Yeah, and I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's Tony Pollard explosive. He's going to be fine. Now, and I can't tell if it's him losing some explosion, which I definitely think it is a little bit, and then also like the lack of creativity in Dallas play calling. It's not making me feel good.
It's definitely a combination. Like I don't think it's just that Pollard went to 0 overnight. No. Clearly, I don't think he looks as good, but these 2nd and 9 runs, directly behind the left guard you might as well just spike the ball, at that point, or kneel down. There just is. And I guess Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer have got to be the worst self-scouters in the world because it's been 6 weeks of this and they haven't fixed it. This is honestly, it's like, kind of there's the multiple categories of people on Twitter saying coaches don't know anything. So there's the first category, which is just like the young guy that you think is good isn't playing enough. The Quentin Johnston, the Jackson Smith and
the Quentin Johnston being like, oh, how egregious he's not getting played. Dude, he sucks. That's why he doesn't get a play.
Right. So then there's the other category of like the coaches isn't using a player that I think is good enough, which I would call the Arthur Smith category, but when they're still getting results, I mean, results, quote unquote, like the Falcons just lost to the Commanders. They're clearly an unserious football team. But in Arthur Smith's mind, he's like, I'm 3-3. I'm doing as much as I can with Desmond Ridder. And then there's the final category where there is absolutely no defense for the coach, and they should actually face some sort of consequence, which is I actually think Jahmyr Gibbs is in this category. No one agrees with me. Everyone thinks Dan Campbell's this awesome coach. The Lions are, going to win the Super Bowl, whatever. But like spending the 12th overall pick on Nyheim Hines is like, that sets your franchise back years. It set the Chiefs back. The Chiefs have a worse roster, so much so because of that Clyde Edwards to this day. We're in year 4 of the Clyde Edwards-Helaire thing, and still you feel the ramifications of how bad.
I'm shocked that they're Super Bowl favorites. Like they do not look good.
When it's grim, you got to be the Grim Reaper. And they
God,
that's the only reason. That's the only reason.
Like Mahomes usually only runs when the team needs to run. And he's been running
all the time right now.
He's been running from week 1. That tells me he's like, my team's not very good. Like I need to be doing
the greatest indication that Mahomes hates his wide receivers is in the Jags game that they won. 3rd and 10, he's scrambling around, he's doing the Mahomes thing. He makes like 4 guys miss, and then eventually he just gets frustrated and threw it to an offensive lineman. He was just like, fuck this. I'm just sick of this. And he just threw it to one of the offensive linemen. It's like, I actually think what's going to happen, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think it's soon, is I think they're just going to say, Sky, thanks for everything. Thanks for the memes. Deuces. Rashee Rice is running 80% of the routes. Because I do think you're right. They are definitely not winning the Super Bowl playing Sky, MVS, and Justin Watson at these snap rates.
Well, and I think like if Hollywood gets traded, they are heavy favorites to land him, and that would like legit be good for them.
Mike Evans.
Yeah. Before we jump into into the slate here, I just wanted to ask, where did the Short King Summer bit originate this summer? Because I consume Davis content, but I can't remember the moment that it was just in the ether.
I'm sure Peter or Karain came up with it. I'm guessing, but it actually started last summer when Olave and Wilson were just like, no question, studs. Actually, you really want to go to the genesis. Devonta Smith was the guy, like wins the Heisman, taken really high. And then Olave and Wilson are just like maybe like 5 pounds heavier than Devonta, but same deal. And then just became clear, like the way to beat the cover 2 is to have a bunch of guys who are 5'8", 170 pounds and are just giga fast and can kind of be zone beaters like that. And then all my favorite late round picks were like short guys, Josh Downs, Wandale, Tutu. They were just all these little like dudes who are my size, which is so funny. But I actually think it's one of my better bits because it's also been like predictive of good fantasy points.
It's been a little profitable. Like Tutu was looking like an absolute league winner for a second. Not so, he's fallen off as to be expected with Cooper Kupp back. Wandale drawing a high target rate. There's layers to these Short King guys. There is the deep A-dot Short King, Tutu.
There's the Tutu one, and there's the Josh Downs one, and then there is the Wandale types.
Yeah. You don't really want the Wandale one. Bad offense.
You don't really want them on Underdog. They're fine. Wandale has actually contributed to like multiple DK teams for me in the last 2 weeks, like 10 PPR points. Like sometimes you need that.
All right. Well, let me share my screen here and jump into breaking down just the week here, guys. If you haven't hit the like and subscribe button on the video, please do. Shout out Fantasy Pros here. Going to pull the fantasy scores from their site here. So this is the top fantasy scores at quarterback on the week. I mean, Davis, any talk about this past week needs mention of just how historically low scoring it was. I mean, it was like not a good week of football to consume. Dak Prescott, QB1 on the week at 25 points. The elite guys are layered in here a little bit. Mahomes with 18, Hurts with 23, CJ Stroud, QB12 with only 15
kind of a down
points.
year in general for quarterbacks. You know, like the elite quarterback scoring. Like if you were giga overweight on any of Hurts, Allen, or Mahomes, like your teams are probably. Although I guess that 2-3 turn area just had a bunch of bombs, like a bunch of guys.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like, would you rather have them or T. Higgins?
I would rather have an elite quarterback than T. Higgins. The guy I would definitely rather have there would be Derrick Henry. I would definitely rather have Derrick Henry.
I think Derrick Henry's going to for sure fall off. Like they're about to bench Tannehill. Like this is like there's like if A-Chain was healthy, that's a guy that if you don't have, you're like shit. But if you're being crushed by Thielen and Derrick Henry, just give Father Time a little bit more time.
Oh, Thielen, dude. I feel like Thielen is just going to go for like 1,500 yards and 11 touchdowns just to totally own the libs. Like every single week we're going to be, you know, he can't keep getting away with it. And he is going to keep getting away with it.
I mean, looking at the season-long scores here, it is the guys you would expect at the top. But to your point, you know, Allen Hurts, Mahomes, QB1, 2, and 3, Tua QB3, but they really haven't separated on a year perspective where Howell QB12, 106 points, only 30 points, 32 points behind Josh Allen. What do you think's up with that? Is that elite quarterbacks facing more cover 2? I saw a tweet today where basically it was outlining quarterback 1 through 6 versus QB 6 through 12 historically, and QB 1 through 6 is about a full point less than the past couple of years. So what's up with that to you?
I mean, I feel like it's just this is like the worst offense has ever been, right? I mean, we're at like 10-year lows of offensive scoring, and it's just filtering down. And you know, Josh Allen is not running as much. What is he, 20th amongst all quarterbacks in designed runs? Like Hurts is really the only one that's running a ton, but he doesn't even have
and Mahomes.
a 30-point game.
Yeah, like Josh Allen doing this with his passing is partially what, you know, and like Diggs competing with like tight ends for targets is part of what making him so good. You know, if you had to guess the QB 1 through 5 on the year, is Goff and Tua going to hold for you? Obviously, Richardson's out of the picture. Fields, we do not know how much he's playing. Kirk Cousins lost Jefferson. So how's it going to sort out for you, QB 1 through 5?
I mean, I would still have them. I think I would say Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, Lamar, Tua. I mean, because Lamar still has the giga ceiling, right? Like,
yeah,
and his floor actually has been better than you would think too. And
well, he had those 2 like 8-point games. You know, he had where is he? He had an 8-point game and an 11-point game. Like, yeah, some of this have been stinkers. You didn't mention Herbert. Let's move on to running back. The running backs who defined the week there. Mostert just like by far and away outscored everyone this week. You have Mostert at, let's move this to half-point PPR. Mostert at RB1 with 33 points. And then ETN, RB2, 22 points. Alvin Kamara pops up here. Tony Pollard with a depressing RB11 on the week. Chuba Hubbard scores a touchdown. Derrick Henry pops up here with a long touchdown. Breece Hall.
Yeah, that's going to be.
I mean,
Breece Hall is going to end up being
doing this
the league winner.
Philly.
Yeah.
Rate these league winners in terms of league winners. Yes. Rate Mostert, Swift, Breece, Ken Walker, and Kyron Williams, I guess, is the other running back you'd toss up.
I would say Breece number 1, Kenneth Walker, Swift, Kyron, Mostert. And the only reason Mostert would be that low is just because of the expectation that he's 31 years old and gets hurt all the time. Like, it's not even, I have no I mean, he's kind of Adam Thielen at running back, right? Like a little bit, where it's like,
Yes.
come on, yeah,
The dude is 31.
Yeah, and it's a little. I mean, it's a little bit of cope for me because I had a bunch of A-Chain, a good amount of Wilson, some Mostert, but not a lot of Mostert, and so it's coping a little bit, and then I guess the Kyron stuff is cope for me a little bit as well because I have some of him. I liked him. You know, really what the thing is I was taking a Ram in the 18th round a lot of the time, and it was not Puka and it was not Kyron Williams. It was our short king, and that
it could have gone better than like
my
18th round wide receiver selection was a lot of Deontay Hardy, which I still think will pop up for some games, but like
I have a lot of Deontay Hardy as well.
When Puka Nacua is there, it's going to be a miss. It's a little bit cope for me too, but like Mostert, I could legit see slowing down if Jeff Wilson becomes a bigger part of the offense. I don't have a lot of Mostert either, hurting my bags. Thank you so much for the super chat, GME holder. He asks, is Achane on the winning BBM4 team despite injury? So he's talking about the team week 17 who wins it all. Achane versus Miami. Is that going to be a key piece you need this year?
I mean, I expect him to be
versus Baltimore, sorry.
He's going to be the Josh Jacobs, of like the highest advance rate.
He's not, because Josh Jacobs versus the 49ers is like a volume running back. Achane is can he just shred the defense for one play a game? And I don't know, Baltimore's good, but they've not been tested by Miami.
I mean, I still think that Baltimore-Miami game is like such a shootout. Lamar gets a little bit more comfortable. They start trusting Bateman a little bit. Because that's, I mean, a real issue with Baltimore is they've got nothing out of Odell or Bateman. They've had to resort it's week 5 and they're already resorting to playing Nelson Aguilar, which is, not great. Not great.
Just talk to us about the RBs on this list
here.
Your
video is
Zach
mad
Moss,
laggy,
RB6 on the year. Is it? Well, guys, is that me or did we lose Davis?
Video was mad laggy, so I refreshed.
Was that me or was that you?
It just happens on StreamYard sometimes. Running back, I mean, sneaky league winner, Travis Etienne Jr. is a very sneaky league winner.
That's a normal name. How about Zach Moss, RB6 on the year?
I mean, it's actually, you want to talk about league winners. I mean, low advance rate, high ceiling, Jonathan Taylor. Like advance rates for Jonathan Taylor are going to be terrible, but they don't give him 3 years, $42 million to put him in a timeshare with Zach Moss. Like the Jonathan Taylor thing is taking off very soon.
Especially without Richardson there to take, that's going to worsen the offense, but he's going to get a lot more of the pie now. Tony Pollard, Derrick Henry, RB11 and RB12 on the years. Bijan, RB10. The touchdown should come for Bijan. If you had to guess how it finishes, top 5 running backs on the year, give us the names.
Total points?
Total points.
CMC, ETN, Kenneth Walker, Devin Achane, David Montgomery.
So we're leaving out Kyron there. Seems fair. No Mostert there. No DeAndre Swift there.
Swift is the one where it's like I'm so biased towards Swift because all my best teams have DeAndre Swift on them. Like I was very late. I was actually looking at a thing we did in Pete's Discord, and in like June, I had DeAndre Swift as like the worst pick. Like we had like a little thing where it was like worst pick in the 7th round, and I was like, oh, DeAndre Swift, he's terrible. And I was taking all this Gainwell, and then I came all the way back around to being like, oh yeah, he's really good. Like DeAndre Swift is just really good. The name I am most hoping gets there. I mean, boy, do I need Tony Pollard to get there because the bags are. The bags feel like cement blocks around my feet right now.
Yeah, I mean, that busted play to get an explosive run for him was like, I mean, down bad to that's what it takes to get an explosive play is like this like broken Dak spins out of a sack and dumps it off to him. But I need it too. I would say though that like that range of picks, the only good picks right there right now, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra. It's like you're not missing Garrett Wilson. You're not really missing Devontae Adams. You're not missing.
Well, I mean, Adams and Pollard. I mean, I just would take those guys at the turn all the time. I would just IKB it. Like those were like my two biggest stances.
For me, it was AJ Brown, Pollard, Amon-Ra, all like 14 to 20%. And then Diggs, I just took like every time over Kelce and Adams.
I've got like no Diggs.
Or Kelce and Eckler. At wide receiver, the top wideouts on the week, Tyreek, Amon-Ra, Kupp, pretty normal. Adam Thielen, wide receiver 4 on the week. Keenan Allen, wide receiver 5. Rashid Shaheed. I mean, this just speaks to how low scoring it was. Diggs did 15 without a touchdown. I don't know. Anything stick out for you on the wide receivers on the week?
I mean, I got 19% Shaheed just because he was going in like such a dead range of drafts, so that feels good. But you know what would feel better? If I would have been taking Adam Thielen instead of Rashid Shaheed. God. It might have been a good decision.
The people with the huge Thielen bag, who, by the way, looking at on the year, he is wide receiver 5. They do not consume content. Right? Like these are the guys who just like rolled out.
They do consume content to laugh at us, Liam. They consume content to be like, these slappies are drafting Tony Pollard off the tightrope surgery, Anthony Richardson. They're the people, those are the people who knew Anthony Richardson were going to get hurt, and they just love to listen to fantasy football people like him. It's sort of interesting. My fades other than Adam Thielen are all at like stone zero, like some of like the worst picks on the board, like Alan Lazard and Juju and then also some guys who got hurt. Like I think I've got like 2% Nick Chubb or something. Although one of the guys I made a point to take none of somehow ended up on one of these teams we're about to do. Alexander Madison is on one of these. I don't know how. I don't know why. I've got like 2% of him across like every draft.
You drafted him when he was in his hundreds then, because I did the same thing. A lot of my fades are running out perfectly. I just don't have enough Mostert. Like not having enough of the league winners is going to hurt you, but I'm advancing pretty fine because I have a lot of Kyron and I faded a lot of guys here. The wide receivers on the year, I mean, some guys not on this list for top 12. Does Ayuk get there for you? Does Hollywood get there? CeeDee Lamb, is he dead?
No. I mean, no. CeeDee's not dead. Garrett Wilson's pretty dead. Olave's fine.
Ridley,
Debo. I think I'm going to put Ridley in the category of being fine. I'm going to put Debo in the category of being fine.
Jacoby Myers, wide receiver 14. Is that going to hold?
It's just all touchdowns. I mean, it's literally all touchdowns. Like, so no, I don't think that holds. A fade that I did get very wrong. Keenan Allen. I mean,
me too, man.
I just never clicked him. Although I didn't really click Mike Williams either. I guess I was too fucking busy clicking Quentin Johnston.
I have 20% Mike Williams, so that hurt my bags. And just being so like, it's Mike Williams over Keenan is not a great process for me. Although Keenan was more expensive. Yeah, I got a lot of these guys. I don't have a lot of DJ Moore or Keenan.
I got like none of him. I think we're gonna survive that one. The
DJ Moore is kind of so negatively regressed.
It's gut feeling. Even if Fields comes back, I think we are gonna survive that blade. Although I tweeted this the other day. The irony is very much not lost on me that I basically spent my entire adult life telling people that DJ Moore will be fine and the touchdowns will come and he can overcome bad quarterback production. And then the year I'm finally out on him is the year that he busts off, the most points he's ever had in a game. No, Jerry Jeudy won't be fine. Cortland Sutton won't be fine. Marvin Mims won't be fine. None of these guys are going to be fine. I think it's going to be Stidham season soon. The only Denver Bronco who's going to score points above expectation the rest of the way is going to be Jaleel McLaughlin. That is the only Bronco that I would want to have in fantasy football right now.
Mims could survive a Stidham thing because like he hit the deep ball to Adam still, but
buddy, you got to be on the field to survive.
Let's move over to tight end. On the week, the top tight end was finally Kelce. Dalton Schultz, resurgence. Kyle Pitts touchdown. I lock buttoned him in DFS this week, so that felt good, but then he just like stopped producing. Like gets that early touchdown, nothing more. I thought the breakout had come. Michael Mayer pops up here.
Yeah,
this is a reminder big. That rookies are not linear. They can be total zeros, and then one week they're just like part of the game plan, So like I would put Kincaid in we could see a Kincaid progression that Mayer did. Looking at the year, what sticks out to you at the top tight ends on the year? Kelce only with 71 points, being far outscored. Laporta, tight end 2. Mark Andrews, tight end 3. Hawkinson, tight end 4.
I mean, I guess the thing that sticks out to me most is Laporta, because that was a situation I got right. Keep scrolling. Where's Kincaid? Where's Dalton Kincaid, Liam? Come on, scroll down. I want you to see what names Dalton Kincaid is sandwiched in between.
If Kincaid didn't get concussed, I think he would have had a good game against the
Chig and Trey. Okay, I guess it could be worse. I was really hoping for him to be in between Andrew Ogletree and Durham Smythe. That would have been much better than being in between Chig and McBride. Here's the thing.
And Freiermuth.
Laporta doesn't have that many great, what has he got? Like 55 half PPR points or something like that. But he's going to end up being a huge win. He's going to end up being a huge win because he was cheap for most of Best Ball Mania 4. And everyone else is just getting donked at tight end every week. Like, dude, if you drafted the Taysom Hill, Gerald Everett, Trey McBride, you're getting like 4 points a week at tight end. Like, you are just getting crushed, and you're giving up a roster spot. So how about Pitt's Laporta teams? Like, Pitt's Laporta teams are like Yahtzee. Like, if you show me these stats, I'm saying that's what I want. I want a guy who's got Luke Musgrave versus Hunter Henry. What do we got there? What do we got? Luke Musgrave versus Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry off of 2 zeros. 3 zeros. In the offseason, Davis, Kyle, and I had this big battle on Musgrave versus Henry. I mean, here's what I will say. On the tight end train, the tight end 2, Sam Laporta at 65 points. Like, if Musgrave had caught his 3 touchdowns that he just like fell down for or was missed by Love, he would be the tight end 5. And Kincaid all the way down here at tight end 33. If he comes back, and the Bills, by the way, have not been good without Kincaid, maybe possibly because he was a part of the team. If Kincaid comes off and like rattles off 3 touchdowns in a row, he'll be the tight end 5.
If any tight end comes in and rattles off 3 touchdowns, George Kittle went from being like completely useless. Like, so I guess, I mean, honestly, that's why I feel so good about Pitts, because if Pitts is going to be allowed to score touchdowns, it's massive for him. I mean, it is massive for him to be able to score touchdowns.
I still would be worried about his ability to score a lot of touchdowns just because of who he plays for. But like Hunter Henry, get out of here. Logan Thomas, I think, is real. Zach Ertz is out of there finally. So Trey McBride has life.
It's over. It's over for Ertz. I mean, the tight end position, the tight end position is just so brutal. I mean, the one who hasn't really done much yet is Andrews, and it feels like with Lamar playing well and like not running as much near the goal line, like potentially we could see Andrews outscore Kelce. Which would be pretty massive.
Do you give Hawkinson any shot to outscore Andrews without Jefferson? Let's pretend.
No,
Jefferson
I think it's going to go the other way. I think the Vikings are headed.
You think he's going to go sour without him?
I think it's into Jaron Hall, TJ Hawkinson on the designated for return IR with a stub toe. Like that is the direction I think the Vikings are going to head. I mean, I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong, but I think there's a reason that we got the Adam Schefter, Kirk doesn't want to waive his no trade clause thing, which is like everyone thinks the Vikings are going to 0.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into looking at our top scoring teams. Davis's top team is at 821. Davis, can you read it out to the people?
Justin Fields, Geno Smith. By the way, I just scrolled on this in the app to see my highest scoring team. So I think these are my 3 highest scoring teams. I can't say with 100% scientific accuracy. This is I guess a Justin Fields, Geno Smith team. Well, not that fun now that Justin is dead. McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Zach Charbonnet, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr.
This is the no ball combination, the Mostert Wilson.
No. This is GTO. I mean, this was before I was an A-Chain slappy, but I took a lot of $2. I have a lot of Mostert A-Chain teams actually. Metcalf, McLaurin, Pickens, fucking Sky Moore, brutal. Darnell Mooney.
I got 0 Sky Moore. That feels good.
Yeah, it should feel good. Shaheed. You want to know one of the things I feel dumbest about? A lot of things for me to feel
John Mechie.
But Mechie instead of Tank Dell was just straight up 50 IQ of me. I mean, just grow up, Davis. It was Short King Summer, and you liked Tank Dell as a prospect. Remember, I made you Tank Dell on a big board that we did?
You've revision in history this. I said, Davis, give me a name that most people are not going to know. And I just asked you who it was. And you since quoted the story and be like, oh, yeah, Liam vomited after he had to take Tank Dell, cited how short he was. I didn't know who the fucking guy was. I was just like, okay, sure.
Well, point being, I literally knew better. I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing to not know better, but it is very much something in fantasy football to know better and to still make a mistake. So Mechie, Michael Wilson, who I was out on early, came back around on late. Josh Downs, Short King Summer, dude. And then a tandem I have quite a bit of is Kyle Pitts. Do they have the same bye week though? Do the Falcons and the Bears have the same? They might have the same bye week. I think they're both week 13 buys.
Yeah, but looking at that bye list, if your takeaway is that a bye matters for tight ends, no, it doesn't. You can take a 0, and someone else is going to get their 3 points from.
Yeah, someone else gets 3.7 from Trey McBride. I mean, this team honestly stinks. Like it's only up there because it got a good
CMC.
CMC. And it got a good Fields Komet game, and it just had a good Shaheed game this last week as well. But this is not even a good team.
No, like your wide receiver guys at the like Metcalf and McLaurin and Pickens is not like your trio of wide receivers. We're like, yes, but you hit the late rounds nice. Michael Wilson and Downs is definitely good quality there, and then running back you're loaded, and you can afford to take. Like if something happens to Ken Walker, which it's seeming like that's what it will take for Charbonnet to truly break out, you got him. Okay. My top team is a Bills alpha stack, which is pretty fun.
Wow, shocking. Where do you get your ideas?
So it's a Josh Allen, Bryce Young team. And it's one of my last teams I drafted. It's got Breece Hall, Swift, and Mostert. I took very little Mostert, so that's how I know it was a late team. Jamal Williams looking like a 0. Algier and Chuba Hubbard, who are fine. So running back.
Chuba Hubbard is more than fine. Chuba Hubbard was like my favorite, like one of my favorite late round running back picks. Like the thesis on Chuba Hubbard already played out. Like he was basically in a 50-50 timeshare and he was free.
Chuba's awesome, but my one little issue with it is I took a lot of Kyren Williams, and I literally remember this draft being like, I'm done taking Kyren. I'm going to take Chuba this time. Like, if I had done all my teams in August, I would have had 60% Kyren. So Kyren could have been on this team, but wide receiver, pretty fun with Diggs, Metcalf, Gabe Davis, and Addison holding it down at the top end. So really a Bills double. Addison
would have been a real nice team with Adam Thielen instead of Mingo.
Yeah, right. And having Hawkinson and Addison, though, is pretty fun, where I have the Jefferson-less pieces. We'll see how good the offense is going forward. My late round wide receivers all kind of suck. Shaheed's there. Kincaid is here. Deontay Hardy's here. DPJ, man, is just like no light on for him. Mingo.
That was we knew that though. I mean, the same thing is like when I clicked Mooney, like I probably clicked him and was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I would imagine you were in the same spot with DPJ.
I've mentioned this before, but I think the DPJ type guys is a real like revisionist on the process thing, where it's like the DPJ thought process was, let me take the guy who can catch like a 70-yard touchdown, basically. And today's NFL with like the cover 2 league, it's just like that guy doesn't pay off.
I got a macro takeaway here, which is that I remember all summer long being in the 14th, 15th round and just scrolling past every name. Now, one of them was Adam Thielen, so maybe an indication that you shouldn't scroll past every name. But at a certain point, I just said, I'm done taking Chig Okonkwo and Donovan Peoples-Jones because they're there. I'm completely done with it. And I started taking Hardy way ahead of ADP, Tutu way ahead of ADP, Shaheed ahead of ADP, all these. So like, I think sort of pick 150 or so next summer. I'm just going to be completely done caring about 10 spots of ADP in the 15th round.
Yeah, especially getting the unique combos. Like if you had the top teams literally have Kyren and Puka on them, which required you to reach on at least one guy because they were both 18th round picks.
Yeah.
Walk us through your second highest scoring team here, Davis, with 8.
Oh my God, this is so bad.
Russell Wilson kicking it off. Is he going to be benched? Because I heard a lot of people be like, "Oh, the offense is actually pretty good in Denver. It's just their defense is that bad." And it's like, what are you watching? You know?
Yeah, those people are stupid. I mean, clearly you can see the only reason that this team is a top team. It's got Puka Nacua, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford.
And Kyren. You have the Puka Kyren.
Oh my God, I've got Josh Jacobs on this team. Dude, what am I? These are terrible. Okay, Russell Wilson.
Do the Puka Kyren combo. That's a rare combo.
Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, Isaiah Pacheco, Antonio Gibson, Chuba Hubbard, Kyren Williams, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Boyd, Marvin Mims, Puka Nacua. I bet what happened on this team is I just got totally locked out at quarterback. I bet Higbee's on this team. No, Greg Dulcich, great.
He's back at least, maybe.
No, this team is not making a cent. I would sell this team. I would sell this team to someone for $1. This team sucks ass.
This team is loaded at wideout, where you have Keenan and AJ Brown and Puka.
It's not going to have the horses though.
It has Kittle. It has top end.
I wasted 4 picks minimum.
Can someone look up how many Kyren Puka teams there are in the contest for me? Because I want to give Davis some light with this team. You know, like the stat. I mean, yeah, not everything's perfect on it, but the running backs are fine enough with Pollard, Jacobs, Pacheco, Kyren, Chuba. Gibson's a 0. Top end wide receivers, you hit the first 2. There's only 406 teams in the whole contest with Kyren and Puka on it.
So more than can even like if I finish 407th in the final, I make like $17. So congrats to me. This is a bad team. I mean, just straight up, this is it got lucky on 2 picks, but this is a poorly structured and a poor. I mean, I'm sure looking at this, what happened is Josh Jacobs was there in the 8th round. Just looking at the players, I'm sure that's why he's on this team. And I was just like, oh, dude, you can't pass that value.
Well, you went Pollard, AJ Brown, and then you went Jacobs, or you went Keenan, Jacobs, or Jacobs, Keenan.
No, I would not have taken. I guess
Jacobs was not an 8th round pick. You can't just say that.
I meant 4th round. You're right. So that is what I did. But this team, Brandon Cooks, dude. I actually looking at it. Cooks, what happened is I got in quarterback jail on this team. That has had to. Yeah. So I must have just been scrambling. So I bet I took Wilson and Stafford both ahead of ADP.
Yeah, but for you to not tack on a 3rd quarterback is why you have Puka and Kyren. Like. You know,
it's a bad team though. It's a bad team. Don't draft like this.
My second highest scoring team, also an elite quarterback. Well, yeah, I mean, earlier Davis said the elite quarterbacks aren't paying off. I would counter that. I mean, yeah, we pointed out that a lot of those picks sucked, but also just like teams you advance to the playoffs with those guys, the ceiling's still there for them in theory. This is a Hurts.
Kyren teams might not even be that good anymore if this injury is serious.
It's a 1 week thing, dude. Don't tell me that.
I definitely would not take that to the bank.
The rumor is it's 1 week for him, maybe 2. Hurts and Love, Montgomery, Swift, AJ Dillon, Kenneth Gainwell, Kyren Williams, Rico Dowdle. So, I mean, it's really like Montgomery, Swift, Kyren holding it down to running back. AJ Brown, Christian Watson, Mike Williams, RIP big man, Gabe Davis, Jacoby Myers, Mingo Shaheed. All the wide receivers are good except Mingo and Mike Williams. And then Kittle, Kincaid, Musgrave. This is a perfectly fine team. Pretty fun team overall. Davis, what's your takes on this?
This is a perfectly fine team.
Davis,
I'm not
this
actually.
guy's trying to buy
actually,
your team for $12.
I'm not actually gonna do that. I would
He was gonna get outbid by me by 13.
Yeah. So this is like a great team. I mean, this is like a great structure. This is, I mean, you don't have any real dead spots. I mean, I guess maybe you could argue Gainwell's kind of a dead spot, but I wouldn't argue that. I mean, Swift just fumbled in that last game, right? And then got benched. Like Gainwell.
Well, and it has both of them. It has Swift, Gainwell, and Hurts. So like it's like that type of
right,
Eagles
but that's
stack.
a dead spot for the playoffs. If you're like if DeAndre Swift is playing behind Rashad Penny or whatever, then it becomes a dead spot. Yeah, well, it's got a dead spot in Mike Williams, but you couldn't have controlled that. That was out of your control.
And the tight end room's real fun too.
Yeah.
And with Kittle, I really tried to take 3 tight end more than just 2. Just with Pitts, it was like acknowledging that they have high weekly ceilings, but their floor is terrible. Davis, your last team here. Talk us through it.
Jesus
oh man,
Christ!
You have a lot of Kyron too, man.
How are these? Well, no, it feels like I have a lot of Kyron because he's just scored like 30 points or whatever, and now I guess a lot of my.
Neil looked up the draft. You took Jacobs in the 3rd.
I gotta grow up, dude. I gotta grow up. What? I guess I just woke up that day and I was like, I gotta get a little bit of Jacobs, dude. All right, we got
some like some boomer take on Twitter about Jacobs, and you're like, all right, fine, I need a team.
All right, here we go. We got the Alexander Slapperson team. Daniel Jones, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy. So totally dead quarterback room. Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, Alexander Madison, AJ Dillon, Jerome Ford, and Kyron Williams. Unstacked DK Metcalf, unstacked Terry McLaurin, unstacked Jordan Addison, Traylon Burks, dead, terrible pick. Romeo Dobbs, Wan'Dale Robinson, Short King Summer.
This is such a Davis team having Wan'Dale and Tutu on it. And you took Wan'Dale ahead of Tutu, who's like,
well, that's in the end. By the end, so this must have been a team I drafted pretty late because once it became clear Wan'Dale wasn't going to go on the IR, I auto drafted a bunch of teams on drafters. I moved Wan'Dale up to like 180th overall. I just have him on every team. Mark Andrews and Dalton Schultz. This is actually
a good team.
I think it's a good team. I mean, I just wish I had anything at quarterback, but those quarterbacks are a tough scene.
I mean, your running back room is loaded with top end and late round. Again, Metcalf and Terry, not your favorite like anchor wide receivers. Addison here too. Tight end loaded. I'm just cracking up.
I think Metcalf is fine in any given week because he can score twice. But like, yeah, I wasn't like. Weirdly enough, Metcalf was my least drafted of the 3 Seattle wide receivers, but he's on 2 of my 3 high scoring teams.
I actually like Metcalf, and I think he has a great Week 17 matchup against the Steelers secondary, where like that's an explosion game. But like compared to like Keenan or someone in that range that's like carrying teams, he's not doing that right now.
Correct.
I'm just cracking up that you took Wan'Dale, who was probably drafted in like less than 1% of drafts ahead of Tutu, who at least was
Wan'Dale probably, I would assume I have at least 5% of the Wan'Dale teams in Best Ball Mania 4, I would guess.
Yeah, you got a lot of them. We can actually look that up. All right, my last team, 805. This team is actually pretty good. It's a Geno, Love, and Sam Howell team. Etienne Swift, Brian Robinson, Kyron Williams, Sean Tucker. So pretty nice running back room. Sean Tucker looking like a 0, but
dude, did you hear the quote from the coach today?
I heard he was asked about why Sean Tucker was playing behind Keyshawn Vaughn. I didn't hear what he said, though.
And so he was basically just like, oh, Keyshawn had a good week of practice, but Sean will have a chance to have a good week of practice too. And we think we'll rotate that a lot throughout the course of the year. So I'm not counting Tucker dead yet.
He's not dead yet, but he's dead for now. Anyways, an Etienne Swift like anchor is really strong, especially with Brian and Kyron layered in there. Wide receivers got AJ Brown, Amon Ra, Christian Watson, Tyler Lockett. Judy, who I did not take any Judy when he was a 3rd and 4th round pick.
So, which ended up being such a value trap of Judy falling in the 7th round or whatever.
Yeah, but you have to like if you're not taking a guy and he has a 3rd round ADP and you think the injury is nonsense, you're like, okay, fine, like I'll take him here. So Judy, Mingo, DPJ, Kyle Pitts, Laporta, Higbee at tight end. So pretty loaded at tight end. Honestly, we got Love to Watson here, Smith to Lockett, and Sam Howell to no one, or just Brian Robinson. But I like this team. Doesn't have elite quarterbacks.
But maybe that doesn't matter as much now, right? I mean, we're definitely not sweating it as much if Josh Allen's not going to run and the Eagles are kind of discombobulated and Mahomes is just pissed off all the time. You're not sweating it as much.
Yeah, but like late in the season, I could see Josh running again. Thank you, Tyler, for the super chat. He says just rooting for 111th place to win regular season prize. Good luck, man. Let's look at the 3 community teams. Let's look up these guys' standings. Actually, if you guys don't know how to do this, you go into your drafts. You click Best Ball. You find Best Ball Mania 4. You click any team. You click the regular season. You view it. All right. So this one is from Teddy on Fetty, who's got to be up there. 127th. Good luck, Teddy. Davis, walk us through Teddy's team here.
Oh, this is a good team. Tua and Ritter. Love it. Love the late round quarterback optimization. Kenneth Walker and Sharps. Again, I love this strategy. Robinson, I was a late convert. You just saw Gibson on one of my teams. I was a late convert. A-Chain.
I was bailed out by him and Gibson's ADP flipping.
Yeah. I started out being a Gibson boy, and then Sean put Brian Robinson as number 4 on the 0 running back list, and I was like, shit, all right, it is what it is. A-Chain and Mostert, golf clap. You just love to see it.
Yeah, this team is sick at running back.
This team is disgusting. We got Diggs, we got Waddle, we got London. Look, all of us took Traylon Burks. It's not your fault, dude. I promise it's not your fault.
He's gonna come back and play. Like he's not dead. Like Davis.
It doesn't matter. He's dead. He's dead, dude. Traylon Burks is a collective hallucination of the fantasy football community. Pickens, like it. Hyatt, love it. Hodgins, I mean, you knew better, but everyone can make a bad pick. It's fine. I mean,
dude, I have like 20% Hodgins. It's dead.
Dude, Hodgins was dead before the season started. The call is coming from inside the house, man. I try to tell everyone about this. I thought it was more likely he was cut than the Giants wide receiver one. Anyway.
Back to the Bills then if he's cut.
Yeah, hey, there you go. Puka, obviously great stuff. And Andrews and the round 18 tight end. I mean, name a better marriage.
And Mike Gesicki's been on the past 2 BBM champions, so glue guy. Great team here. Teddy on Fetty. This next one's from Fantasy Stock Exchange. Corey. Shout out Corey. It's a light mode, but we'll allow it. It's Herbert, Goff, Carr. A little bit extra. Like, I would never do Carr going Herbert and Goff.
Well, did he have an expensive New Orleans piece?
Let's see here. It's got ETN, Swift, AJ Dillon, Achane, Mostert, White. So, again, the double Miami guys. And ETN
the double Miami teams are going to be all over the leaderboard right now, right?
Yeah. Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, Keenan, Godwin, Quentin Johnston, Tank Dell, Josh. I mean, sick white. Like no one's a bad pick other than QJ, and at least he's stacked at the moment. Like hitting on Tank and Downs as your late guys, pretty good there. And then Njoku, Komet, weak tight end, but whatever. This is a nice team.
It is a nice team. I got to commend him for Tank Dell. Just a guy I was not clicking as he got more expensive because I was like, oh, what, he got 5 catches in a preseason game and now everyone loses their minds? And I was the one who was wrong.
That was like, I drafted Tank the day the contest opened because I was like, all right, 3rd round rookie on the Texans, like in biggest room. But the contrarian in me, when he started rising boards, I was like, oh, I'm not going to take the preseason guy. That was wrong. This last team.
I did somehow psyop myself into like 15% Deontay Hardy just because I didn't like Kincaid, which is just like, ugh. Hate it.
I did it as a hedge / I like Hardy. This one is from D's. Shout out D's. Big in the crypto space, big in the football space. Davis, read off his team for us. He said something like, I don't like my teams at all. Gonna try again next year. But shout out D's.
All right. Well, he's got a Hurts Devonta. We love to see it. He's got a Stroud, Damian Pierce, Nico Collins. Again, you love to see it. McCaffrey. I loved taking Kamara with early season guys like Gainwell and Hubbard. I thought that was pretty sharp. Mike Williams, we pour one out. Not your fault. Christian Kirk, Michael Leone wins again. Michael Pittman without Anthony Richardson has to be one of the most rare pairings, right? Like it feels like the Pittman drafter was just taking Richardson at like 100% clip. But I mean, look, that's going to end up being a win. Nico, huge win. Bateman, look, man, Bateman is just advanced form. Traylon Burks, I got 19%. I got 19%. Rashad
Bateman's underdog prop was 14.5 receiving yards this past week. Oh no, sorry, it was 8.5. I think. I bet the over and won.
Good for you. Damn, this is a. He's got Jacoby scoring. Marvin Mims contributing 34 points is just, it's stone hilarious. I mean, it's so because it's all just been so unpredictable. Schultz with Stroud. Oh, Taysom. We love to say we have barely talked about Taysom. 8 targets last week. And Trey McBride, he's coming up. He's coming up right now.
Yeah, this is a fun team from D's. Shout out D's. Yeah, I mean, Taysom was a normal tight end but this past week was so weird, man. Pittman, I drafted a lot of Richardson, but not a lot of Pittman, so a little down bad there, or maybe good. Where would you rank the guys who went in Devonta Smith's range today? Like, what we know today, where would you rather have?
T. Higgins last. I would have T. Higgins as like an 18th round pick, and I might not take him there.
I'm taking Ridley over Smith.
No, I wouldn't do that.
You're going Smith over Ridley. Okay.
Going Smith over Ridley. Yeah.
I mean Ridley had a 40% first read target rate this past week or something. Like that's pretty.
I don't care, dude.
Okay.
You think, I mean, are you going to start quoting man versus zone splits? I mean, next, like enough.
All right. Smith ahead of Ridley for you. Who else was in that range?
Well, Keenan over all of them, right? Keenan over all of them.
Yeah, but he was like cheaper, unfortunately for us. He was more like
the one I would say is I never took Amari Cooper. Hated.
No, me either, but he was back end of the third, fourth. Like, here, let me pull up a draft.
I mean, I guess so. Of those turn guys, I would say
it goes like this. It went ignore Pollard because he's not normal. It went Hurts, Olave, Andrews, Derrick Henry, Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, Josh Jacobs, basically, and like Metcalf was basically there. So like Smith versus Olave, I guess, is a question.
Smith.
I think I'd want Olave there, but I have more Smith.
Shaheed is like enough of like a gets open 60 yards down the field guy that I think it cuts out some of the Olave prayer yards. I mean,
yeah, Olave should not have been here either.
The real answer is that you just should have taken Mark Andrews every freaking time because
no, you should have IKB'd Keenan if you're trying to like be the.
Well, I'm just saying, being realistic, like if you took 100% Mark Andrews, like pick 21 through 28, you are like, I missed nothing. I gave up absolutely no EV, fading all these shit bums, and I have a guy who can lead the tight end position in scoring any given week. Like, so you're giving up nothing in advance rate because you were fading a bunch of guys who suck, and you gained a ton of ceiling.
I think I'd take the elite quarterbacks over Andrews, but it's close, honestly, and it's going to come down to basically who does well in the fantasy playoffs. But yeah, I mean, pretty like Ramondre seems pretty dead. ETN opened as a 2-3 guy and fell as the season went on with the Tank Bigsby love.
He's my third most drafted running back, I think.
Nice. All right, let's move on. Usually we look at tweets around the industry. There's only really one tweet I have to show. It's pretty much just the down bad list of players, courtesy of Jacob.
Is it Herzig? Is it Herzig saying that that Tony Pollard is dead? Because that hit me in the feels.
We're not bringing that up. We're protecting our mental health here. This is 20 wide receivers have a yard per route run below 1.00. And so these are essentially guys not playing well.
The funniest shit is T. Higgins being in between.
T. Higgins is 18 here. And JSN pops up on this. Jalen Hyatt on this. I think those are just like drops. Jahan Dotson's on this. Like, okay, Jahan Dotson, is it Jover?
I'm gonna say it's 85% Jover. I'm not ready to call it yet. He's got 2 outs, which would be 33-year-old Logan Thomas getting hurt or eternally fragile Curtis Samuel getting hurt. So both of those feel it's definitely Jover. if
man. Randall
Point-
Cobb being 0.16 is like egregious.
It's so funny. I mean, this list, Allen Robinson, Boyd, and T being on here is also.
Is it Jover for Elijah Moore?
It's Jover for every Cleveland Brown. I mean, it was Jover. The second they built that stadium outdoors next to a lake, so it's been Jover for the Cleveland Browns.
A couple guys I'd leave the light on for. JSN just ran his highest ADOT of the season off the bye and equal routes to Lockett and Metcalf. Any other guys you're optimistic about on this list at all?
Yeah, Hyatt and JSN.
Yeah, Hyatt, JSN. Rondale Moore if he gets traded to the Chiefs. Dotson, yeah.
What about if Rondale Moore just gets converted to third down back?
Running back? I mean, that would even be kind of
Silva has been banging this drum, and to be honest, I see it. I think it's totally possible.
Yeah, I mean the dude is an athletic freak. So, all KJ Osborne being on this list is just like I don't know what to make of that.
I mean, he's terrible.
Like,
Why did people ever think he's good?
No, I didn't draft him at all. I thought he was like the worst priced guy in fantasy, but he has to be better than this if it's going to just be him, Addison, and Hawkinson running routes, or Hawkinson and Addison are going to smash, or the Vikings just suck again.
The Vikings are going to stink. I mean, the Vikings are going to be a painful slog on offense. It's going to be brutal without Justin Jefferson.
Well, before we get out of here, we'll just Davis, Kyle, and I drafted this team. Our team is 4-2, second in the league. It's a Hurts, Swift, Christian Watson, Calvin Ridley.
I had a moment of deep depression last night, realizing this team was going to miss out on the all play. Also, just like the
it's not, guys. This is what I deal with. Dave, our team is 4-2, and Davis is like, I just woke up from a depression nap about how our team is going to not even make the playoffs. I mean,
by the way, Ty Montgomery being on this bench. I mean, it's just so this is where you get with Liam, because Liam is just not going to sit out a week of waivers. We got to make a move, and the move.
No, that is you. I would not have dropped Jeff Wilson. You dropped Jeff Wilson on us. I would have held him, but it was Ty Montgomery over Dawson Knox. We're taking swings here. He had a good week the week before. We got a good team here. We got a shot. Anyways, Davis, thanks so much for coming on.
It might look, dude. It might be Jover. It might be Jover for DeAndre Swift after that fumble, for real. I'm not even trying to be fatalistic, but there's a chance of Joverness.
You are actively trying to be fatalistic. You're like, our team is worst in the league. We're second in points. You're just saying the opposite. All right, Davis, thanks so much for coming on to the special early edition of the Best Ball Leaderboard Show. For me, guys, just hit the like, hit the subscribe, join the Discord. The link to do so is below. I'll be back on at least Friday for the prop show. Davis, talk us through the people where they can find your content.
Sports Grid Fantasy Football Podcast, daily takecast. Gotta actually have one people I think will like tomorrow with one of the new VIP brothers at Underdog, an old friend back in the industry. I think people will enjoy that. And they can watch my television show on Sports Grid every Saturday morning at 9 p.m. Eastern.
He'll be on the Swolecast on Wednesday. He does a DFS breakdown with Jacob Sanderson on Thursday. You can find him everywhere.
Assuming Jacob wakes up in time. It's been a close call a couple times. Jacob records that show at 7 a.m. Pacific time and before he goes into his job. As a serious adult job person, it's wild. Good for him.
Bright and early. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. We'll be back next week with another guest for this show. Good luck with all of your teams. Peace.